Thank you for your patience. Good morning, everyone. I'm Susan Dyhep. I'm your temporary spiritual coordinator. I want to start this morning with the daily word, and then I'll introduce our speaker and have a little information for our community. June 6th, healing. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. Today, I give thanks for the constant activity of divine healing life, especially when my body is experiencing illness. To bolster my awareness of my capacity for healing, I will place my attention on my inherent wholeness. I affirm life in my thoughts, my words, and my actions as I care for my body and meet its needs. My faith assures me that illness is not the truth of me, nor is it my enduring reality. Through my actions, I am affirming wholeness as my true nature and encouraging my healing. Even when I am not facing illness, I greet each day by blessing my body, affirming my wholeness and the ongoing activity of divine life in every organ, every cell. I give thanks for the gift of life by giving thanks for my healing and living joyously. He said to her, "Your daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Luke 8:48. If anybody noticed, it doesn't say I'm recording. Linda helped me figure out if we do live on Facebook, it can go from Facebook to YouTube to our webpage. So we don't need that second step. So welcome again. I want to point out, remind you, this Thursday we are having our special meeting of the congregation on Zoom. I've sent you both a snail mail and an email. If you don't know about it, reach out, ask questions. We cannot have people vote by mail. It's just like when we're in person. For our town hall, you need to be present to vote. And this is going to be voting on the purchase of our spiritual home. And thank you all who was able to come out and view the property. We had a wonderful turnout, and it was so exciting to be together and to, just be together. Now, we did have to pick the time at the seller's agent's availability. So I know it wasn't ideal, especially for all our working folks, and we respect your time. But there will be more opportunities. Now, if you have questions, please reach out, because this decision, it's our decision all together. This is a decision that's monumental for our community. It is not to be made by the board. It will be effectively made by the board, but it's made by the board upon your directive. So that's why we're having this meeting. So everybody gets to ask questions. There'll be time during the meeting for you to ask your questions. Also, you can ask them before. So it's important that everybody knows that this is something we are all doing together, and your questions matter, your voice matters, your input matters. And during this transition, the board is seeking divine guidance step by step. And we just remain in awe that when our lease came up last year, just in time, that we could end up saving money by the pandemic. So we are trusting that Spirit is leading us forward. And also, as we engage our ministerial search, we are asking to be led by that still small voice of Spirit. As we prepare to meet in person, we also know we are supported by the larger Unity community. We're not in isolation. We are part of a community that is vibrant in spirit and teaches these truth teachings. Unity Worldwide Ministry is supporting and guiding our ministerial search. They are our employment agency, if you will. They are providing guidance, they're providing suggestions. So we are not doing this alone. During this time, we also have had the privilege to meet many of the next generation of Unity leaders. And that's like today's speaker, Faith Cotter. Faith has been a practitioner of unity teachings for more than 20 years. She's been a prayer chaplain. She's been involved at Unity Orlando, Queen of the Universe Shrine Museum, Christ Church Unity, St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church, Redeemer Lutheran Church, and other churches outside of Florida. She has an expertise of women in the Bible stories. And she holds a master's degree in educational leadership through Nova University and a Master of Divinity through Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. She was ordained as a Unity minister in 2020. So although she won't be moving to Stockton to be our minister, in future, we might get to have the opportunity again to have her as a guest speaker. So it's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Faith.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that introduction, and it's wonderful to be here with you all today. Everybody hears me good? Okay, let's just take a moment if we can and open with prayer. So close your eyes and take a deep breath. And we just focus on the right here and right now, pushing aside any distractions that may be going around or on around us, or even through us, mentally, emotionally. And we just bring our focus into the moment. And we know that loving spirit, God is with you, with us, as we are connected today and in every way, in all ways. We know that the decisions that need to be made will be made in love and guidance and wisdom. And we just see God's loving light surrounding all decisions as things unfold naturally and effortlessly, as the right time, the right place, and the right people are being brought together, now and always. Amen. So I wish you well as I was hearing your decisions, and I thank you again for the opportunity to share with you today. And I want to start by saying that, today, this is the liturgical calendar, the Christian calendar would call this ordinary times, right? But it's not ordinary. There's nothing ordinary about these times, about the past year and a half, about what's going forward. And my talk title today is Shift Happens. And I have to say that very carefully. Shift happens. And it's spell it out, SHIFT. However you want to interpret that is up to you, but shift happens, right? So we have shifted our thinking, and this past year, our whole lives have shifted, right? How we think about restaurants and going to the movies, and everything has changed. And not just how we live our lives individually and physically, but even spiritually, things have changed. And our shifts in thinking and whatever it may be, whether it's a decision, can happen slowly. It can happen quickly. I want to share a short story with you. If you've ever traveled, you know that you have to go through the screenings and security check. And one time I was in ministerial school, I had created this ceremony with sand. And everybody has seen the colored sand, I'm sure, with white, yellow, pink. And I did a ceremony where you did an affirmation as you pour the sand into the bottle. And I was going to the village, and I wanted to share that same ceremony with the people in the village instead of just online. So I decided to pack up the sand, and I had to keep it in individual baggies so that it didn't mix together until we got there. And I'm going through security to go to the village, the Unity Village, and I noticed my suitcase gets pulled to the side. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, I got to get on the plane. I'm a 10-minute early person, and this is really throwing off my time schedule. to be pulled off to the side. So as I stood there in line impatiently, to be honest, waiting, I finally get up there. It's my turn. They throw my suitcase up on the table and the woman says, "Do you have anything in the suitcase that's going to hurt me?" I said, "No, I can't think of what I would have in there." And she said, "Well, we saw something on screen. So what is this?" And she pulls out the gallon baggie of my white sand. And I thought, that is not what you think it might be. It's sand. And she said, "Well, I have to test it anyway." And as she did, she tested the white one, the blue one, the yellow. She went through every single bag. And I shifted my thinking very quickly from impatience to, I will stand here as long as you need me to stand here so I can get through, because that's not what you think. So I have through my life have gone through different changes of thinking. And one of the books that helped me is really from a while back ago, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's still something I draw on today, but I want to read this one part because Stephen Covey, if you're familiar with the book, talks about what's called a private victory. This is something within you, habits that you have by being proactive or, putting first things first. A public victory where you seek to understand other people. And then something called renewal or sharpening the saw, where you keep honing in on those habits that help you. And one of the things he talks about is the spiritual dimension. So I just want to read this paragraph to you. The spiritual dimension is your core, your center, your commitment to your value system. It is a very private area of your life and a supremely important one. It draws upon the sources that inspire and uplift you and tie you to the timeless truths of all humanity, and people do it very, very differently. The spiritual dimension is your core, your value system that ties you to humanity, okay? And everybody does it differently. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of prayer and meditation, that we all find our center and our core. But it doesn't mean it doesn't change. And Charles Fillmore would say, "I reserve the right to change my mind." You can shift your thinking at any time. You know, when Jesus brought the message to the Jewish people, he was actually asking them to shift their thinking from a God that was out there to a God that was within. And he upended the assumption that to please God, you have to follow the letter of the law. In Mark 2:22, he said, "And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst the skins, and both the wine and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins." So why is that? What does that mean? On a physical level, new wine is not done fermenting. It bubbles, there's still gases going on. If you put it into an old wineskin that's already formed, it will burst the skin physically. Metaphysically, he's saying, new ideas will be coming forth. And you can't put your new ideas and new soul growth into old frameworks. As we are seeing on a social level, on all levels of society, especially this past year and a half, the old frameworks are not working anymore. New spiritual growth and opportunities, they come forth to help us become more advanced spiritual beings. So new growth and new opportunities are there to help us advance as spiritual beings. And this applies to society Although maybe not everybody sees it, there is a major shift that is happening today in society on all levels. I think you could agree that politics won't be the same. Schools are not the same. Churches are not the same as they used to be. So we can't always go back to the old approaches. On every level of our lives, we have seen this shift. Right before I came on, I was talking to my source and just opening myself up, and it came to me, go grab your prayer journal. So this is my private prayer journal. I keep anything that, kind of hits me, phrases, cards, I write in it, bookmarks, letters, I just shove it in here. And this is my personal communication and private communication with God. So everybody does it differently, and it's an individual thing. And I just thought, I need to go grab that. And then I let it fall open. And I happened to have highlighted something that I wrote in April 16th, 2008. And I want to read what I highlighted. Recently, I have not wanted to jump into an expanded thought. However, I have since learned that I am experiencing, in quotation, God, and I have asked for this. I have asked for this and attracted this, and how I shall accept, and now I shall accept it, for it is meant for good. I am humbled and honored. And it was at that time I was considering ministerial school. And I found that my shift in my beliefs have happened over time. And sometimes I resist that. I don't always want to go into that expansion. I don't always want to grow. But I often find myself humbled, and I do it anyway. I have many shifts in beliefs on God. If I think about what I thought when I was a child versus what I thought when I was in my teens, versus what I thought when I was in my 20s, versus what I thought today, I am constantly evolving and shifting and transforming, and my beliefs change. Karen Kelly, in her article, Three Faces of God, said, the first face of God is the I am, the belief that we are one with the Creator. The second face of God is one we pray to, Mother, Father, Abba. And the third face of God is the all of nature web of life, all of the web of life. Our spiritual lives are being shifted throughout this whole process that we're going through over this past year and a half and this point of our lives. And there's times when I feel all three. Sometimes in the morning, I may be, I am the Creator, I am. But by the afternoon, I've shifted out of that for some reason, and I need to be drawn back into it for another. And I can do that sometimes by going out into nature. So it all works together. So I ask, how have you been renewing your spiritual self? Are you out of balance? Do you need rest, prayer, meditation, a day outside, a walk, to be in the silence? Carve time out as we are shifting through and transitioning through this time and things are kind of going back to normal. You may find, and I have found, that not all things, ideas, practices are going to go back into the old wineskin. I need to change how I'm doing things. So I want to say 3 affirmations with you. Now I would like you to close your eyes and just listen to the first one. I am willing to release old ideas that do not serve me and my Christ self. I'm going to say that again, and you can repeat with me in your mind or verbally. I am willing to release old ideas that do not serve me and my Christ self. 2, I joyfully welcome new ideas into my heart and mind. We can say that together, silently or out loud. I joyfully welcome new ideas into my heart and mind. And 3, I embrace my role in Spirit's unfolding plan. Together, I embrace my role in Spirit's unfolding plan. Then you can open your eyes. Renew and energize your spiritual dimension. Don't put old wine into new wineskins. Shift happens. Remember, spiritual core is changing in all of us. If we find time to get centered, we can be ready for this shift. Unity has been given out or publicizing one of the 12 powers each month. And the power this month is imagination. Imagination. Can we imagine our lives and what they'll be like over the next 6 months or a year? Where can we go now with everything that's new? The new church, the new space, the new minister. Imagine so that you can have the shift into a new existence. And sometimes the imagination has to be brought into today and in this moment and in this day. And sometimes we can expand it. Religious leader David O. McKay said, the greatest battles of life are fought out daily in the silent chambers of the soul. I just love that. I want to say it again. The greatest battles of life are fought out daily in the silent chambers of the soul. Individually, very, very differently, in the silent chambers of your soul, whether you feel it, see it now, is the seed of imagination, the thought, if you will, from divine mind that starts silently and grows to the point where we can recognize it. And then we shift into the new spiritual person that we are meant to be. I believe that through prayer and meditation, through individual guidance and seeking and self-reflection, we will evolve, and we do evolve. And that as metaphysicians and practicing metaphysicians, it is our role to uplift others as well, and to continue to grow and to continue to shift, because we have no idea what God has in store for us. And that's the exciting part. So I wish you well, and I'd like to take us into a meditation. So if you'll just close your eyes, take a deep breath and blow that out. Find a place that's comfortable for you, allowing your body to just fall into a natural state. Take another deep breath and blow that out. Allow your hands to just fall into your lap or by your side, relaxing your shoulders. We're going to take one more deep breath and we blow that out. We allow our breathing to just now come to a natural rhythm with no force, effortlessly. As we shift from our mind into our heart space, into the loving space of the soul. It is here that we know that all is in divine order, that we continue to grow, first by blessing our physical selves, by acknowledging and affirming that God is working through every cell. As we breathe into our heart space, we acknowledge and affirm our emotional selves, our humanity, our ability to be compassionate, empathetic, loving, our ability to guide others with love and kindness and acceptance. And we acknowledge and affirm our spiritual selves, with gratitude. We thank our soul's growth, the realization, the feeling, the God-given power to understand that we are continuing to evolve. We are continuing to shift, first from the inside, then to our understanding and wisdom. And we acknowledge this spiritual self, the Christ consciousness that is able to expand out, to expand our knowledge and wisdom and desire to grow, to see it in others, to connect with their Christ in others, to surround them with love, light, harmony, and to shift from them to our community, to our country, and to the world. The expansive universe is within us, and we are able to expand that to everyone else, to be a conduit, to allow Spirit to flow through us, in us, and out of us. As we continue to shift, to grow, to evolve. And so as we come back to this space and place, as you feel the connection with where you're sitting, become aware of your arms and your hands. And we open and close our fingers. We move our shoulders. And we take a deep breath. And we know all is well. All is given. All is received. And we say thank you, thank you. Amen. Namaste to you.
Thank you, Faith, so much.